Traders, welcome back to another price action trading lesson. So today's market started out with this downtrend working lower. We eventually reversed up into this uptrend. We had a tiny break and attempt to create a new extreme. Then we reversed into this uptrend working higher here. I was expecting some second entry long at the EMA while this uptrend was going higher. The market opened around this area here, but you can see we got a tiny break and a new high here. Um, it's getting quite sideways. There's some potential support and some potential resistance. So I was really monitoring this area to see what was going to happen next, if this range was going to be the primary market cycle or something else was going to develop. But you can see what ended up happening. We have a first entry long pullback, second entry long failure, but it formed above the EMA. And we have somewhat of a two-legged pullback here. It didn't form in a clean one leg. But you can see eventually prices ended up rejecting and pushing lower. So you had this downtrend working lower. You had a first entry short pullback, second entry short here, but you have somewhat of an uptrend in play. So I really wanted to see a lower high here to confirm the second entry short. But you're already getting the idea that prices are going to push lower. Trading range is going to be their main structure, and we're most likely going to want to come back and test this support level. And sure enough, prices push lower now. And we get a break and a new extreme of this downtrend here. So it's very important what happens here. Since we pushed back above the EMA, you can treat this as a two-legged pullback. You can see the first leg here, break, second leg. This structure being a range is very important because it's going to keep you from drawing some wider trend. Because you may be tempted to draw some wider trend down, but since the main range is our structure, it gives us the confidence that, okay, this is most likely a two-legged pullback, and the fact that we're back above the EMA is a good sign that the bulls are going to step back into the market because this is a range. It's very clear that the support's holding, two-legged pullback back above the EMA. Now, if we're in a downtrend trade, like a downtrend structure instead of this range, then it could be a little bit interesting. There could be potentially some wider trend, but it's very telling since we're in a range. We're back above the EMA. We need to stick to the tight channels. We're going to read this as a two-legged pullback and expect prices to reverse. So we have this uptrend working higher. When I was watching this live, I was playing this like this with a break in a new extreme. But if you were playing this wider channel like this, then what happens here is very important because you can see you have a first leg down, break, second leg, and you actually have a second entry long here. So if you're playing this wider channel, if you're playing this wider channel, this is a great second entry long to take advantage of here. Unfortunately, I was playing this tight channel with a break in a new high, so I wanted to see some confirmation setup, but it's already a good sign that these legs are so broad from each other. Why? Because you know that a channel like this is just not valid. This is just way too wide. It's not valid for a short-term trend, and the fact that you got two broad legs gives you more confidence that the bulls are going to want to step into the market and push prices higher. And the fact this uptrend needs a new high makes this an even better. Great confirmation, second entry long, set up to push prices and get the new extreme for this uptrend. Unfortunately, I was playing the break in the new high, so I was looking for some higher low. But even if you were playing the break in the new high, it's already a good sign that these legs are so broad that you really expect prices to push higher. And sure enough, prices push and create the new extreme. So once again, you have first leg up, break, second leg up here, something like this. It didn't reach the measure move because the resistance came into play and pushed prices lower, but it's very, very similar to what I was speaking about right here. Instead of drawing the wider trend, you're going to draw these shorter trends. So instead of drawing something wider, you're going to stick to the shorter trends and look at it as a two-legged pullback because we're in this range structure. So now we're back below the EMA. So I'd be looking for a failed second entry long here. And you get the failed second entry long here, but problem is it didn't form well on my chart. It formed as a bullish bar, but we got the structure down right. So now I'm looking for some second entry short at the EMA. You get a first entry short, and first entry short pushes down and creates the new extreme. So when we get back above the EMA like this is where I'm saying, okay, Why did the midline hold prices? Why didn't bears push prices all the way lower since the range was our main structure? So I'm already starting to question the bearish bias and I'm thinking more bullish. I can see some support forming here. Um, when we're back above the EMA, I'm drawing this wider trend here. And I'm looking for some second entry long at the EMA. But you can see prices played out with a break in a new extreme here. And we're back below the EMA. So at this point, I'm drawing this trading range as a structure, this mini one here. And I would consider some failed second entry long if it formed nicely. You can see we have a lower high here, but it formed as an inside bar. And you get the failed second entry long here, but it just formed quite weak on my chart. And now this downtrend's in play. So I'm thinking about some second entry short at the EMA because even though we're right at the support level, trendline rule still works. Trendline rule still expects the new extreme. So I'm looking for some second entry short. And you get the second entry short here, just formed quite weak on my chart. But look what eventually happens. You got that two-legged pullback, first leg up, break, second leg up here, breaking a new high of the uptrend. I was considering some lower high in this area here, but unfortunately it just didn't form. And prices pushed lower and created the new extreme for the downtrend. So great price action. With this broad break and a new extreme, I'm treating this more as like somewhat of a failed breakout out of this range. So I was thinking about some failed second entry short above the EMA because this mini range here was our structure. So I expect prices to push back into the range at this point, given that the downtrend played out with a break and a new extreme. And you get the failed second entry short, but it formed here, not the best bar. I wanted to see something above the EMA, but now prices ended up playing out with a break and a new high of this uptrend. So when we're back below the EMA, it's telling that, okay, we could be shifting back into this main structure here. So I drew this downtrend, and I'm looking for some second entry short at the EMA. You have this short-term trend working higher like this, something like this. But I'm looking for some second entry short at the EMA because this downtrend here needs a new extreme according to trendline rule. You have a first entry short. Can we get some second entry short? And you get the second entry short here, but it formed as an inside bar, and it's quite weak on my chart. And you get the failed second entry long here. The problem is it formed quite weak again on my chart. But you can see prices ended up reversing. I was expecting a new low for this downtrend, but when we get back above the EMA, I'm giving up on this downtrend needing a new extreme. And I'm going ahead and drawing this wider trend. So at this point, I'm looking for some second entry long at the EMA. It was clear once we got to this point that this downtrend, that the bears treated this downtrend as an attempt to create the new extreme. So I'm looking for some second entry long at the EMA. Can we get it here? Because this uptrend needs a new high according to trendline rule. Now that we have this first break here, you actually have somewhat of a triple test here, but I have a downtrend in place. So can we get some second entry long? And no, prices just push up and create the new high for the uptrend. So no worries. We're pausing, looking to go long at this point now that the uptrend played out. Let's just see what happens here. We get the failed second entry long, but it formed above the EMA. We needed to see something below the EMA here. And then when we pushed lower here, I went ahead and drew this wider downtrend. So at this point, I'd be looking for some second entry short at the EMA because this downtrend's in play, resistance held. So let's see if we can get it here. You get a first entry short. Can we get some second entry short? You can see that nice two-legged pull work again. This is perfect. See those nice two legs. First leg up, break. Second leg up. Can we get some second entry short here? And sure enough, I'm going to delete this so we can see it a little bit better. But you can see the first leg break, second leg. We're looking for the second entry short. So if we reset the count from the lowest low, you have a first entry short pullback, second entry short here, right at the EMA, right at this trend line. Perfect setup. I went ahead and took this setup live, and prices just pushed low nicely. So it confirmed the key entry point, confirmed the EMA, nice two-legged pullback, perfect second entry short. And this downtrend is still in play. So we still need a new low if we get a break of this downtrend, which it looks like we're getting the break here. So according to trendline rule, we still expect a new low for this downtrend. And sure enough, you can see those two legs again. So just how you see the first leg up here and the second leg up here, look at it right here. First leg up here, second leg up here. So we'd be looking for the same exact setup, a second entry short. Can we get it? You get the second entry short, but you have a first entry short, second entry short here formed as this bullish bar. So it'd be a double bar entry. But the problem with this one is We're above the EMA, so can we get some lower high below the EMA, confirming the second entry short downtrend needs a new low according to trendline rule? I was thinking we could potentially get it here, but we never got the tick higher. And you can see prices just push lower and get the new low for the downtrend. So perfect price action. Downtrend played out the break in a new extreme. I still be treating it as a new extreme, but it's looking like there could be potentially some wider channel, but we have to be a little bit patient shooting for the wider channel quickly, because we have to remember that we're in a range. So I'm treating this more as a two-legged pullback like this. And once again, just because we're in the range. Since this is a range structure, I really want to be careful drawing those wider channels, because prices could pivot very quickly in these range structures. So at this point, I'd be treating this as a two-legged pullback with a break and a new extreme of this downtrend. But you can see, guys, we're already coming up on market close. So at this point, it's just for educational purposes, but I'd be treating this as a two-legged pullback and really monitoring price action to see, are we going to push above the EMA and the bulls are going to start kicking in? Or are we going to continue working lower? And at that point, we can eye some wider downtrend, but it could be that they're just trying to hit this measured move before we push higher. So we really need to be careful before like over jumping the wider channel and then ended up getting trapped on some second entry short when you're already selling at the bottom of the move, because traders could be viewing this as a two-legged pullback, which is very, very likely in this range structure. So I hope this makes sense. I hope this makes sense. I mean, this was a very big theme throughout the day. You're looking at that two-legged pullback, because you could think about it like this as well. You could be tempted to draw the wider downtrend, but you can see what happens here. Once we hit that support, we ended up reversing, and it was very clear that there was a two-legged pullback. Same thing here. You'd be tempted to draw a wider uptrend, but once we hit the resistance, you can view it as a two-legged pullback. First leg up, break, second leg up. So it's and same thing here. First leg down. Oops, excuse me. First leg down, break. Second leg down, and then same thing here. First leg down, break. Second leg down. So once we get to that resistance, we could end up reversing. So you want to be careful drawing that wider trend, because you could get trapped on a second entry short at the bottom of the move. So it's very, very important to monitor price action and see what's going to happen next. Are we going to get that, once we hit that measured move, that support test, we're going to push back above the EMA and get some wider uptrend working higher. So yeah, guys, I hope that makes sense. If this video was helpful for you guys, feel free to hit that like button below. If you guys have any questions, feel free to comment below. I have a trading community where I post charts daily in real time. If that's of any interest to you guys, feel free to check out the link in the description below. But other than that, guys, I hope you guys had a good trading day, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you.